Engagement with Kabul authorities is the only way to address Afghanistan's humanitarian situation. Afghan authorities have more trust in the OIC than any other international organization. I am happy to inform you that an ulama delegation of the OIC visited Kabul and exchanged views with authorities there, to which the Secretary General has also agreed. Excellencies, the Trust Fund must emerge as a credible vehicle to challenge resources not only by the OIC but also by the international community and international organizations. This Trust Fund needs more resources to provide credible assistance platforms for the Afghan people and forge partnership with the international community and donor organizations. The OIC has a real chance to enhance its leadership on Afghanistan. Also, sufficient financial resources were allocated to the Special Envoy on Afghanistan when we met for our 48th ministerial meeting in Islamabad. With our concurrences and Saudi Arabia's support, we have managed to operationalize the Office of the Special Envoy. He has undertaken consultations with all relevant stakeholders and visited regional and other countries. I look forward to receiving his report. While I encourage you all to continue to support the Office of the Special Envoy, it is also time to assess results from the work that the Special Envoy is undertaking. It is our hope and wish that the Special Envoy's efforts should lead to showcasing at least one major program in the near future. Where the OIC is leading efforts to mitigate Afghanistan's grave humanitarian and economic crisis, the OIC countries and Afghanistan's neighbors are also well placed to help Afghan authorities to develop effective strategies to eliminate the terrorist threat from ISIS and other terrorist groups in Afghanistan, including the Tehrik-e-Taliban Pakistan, ETIM, IMU, and Al-Qaeda. Excellencies, we must also address the several unresolved festering conflicts within the Islamic world. The Muslim world has been beset by conflict and violence, often as a consequence of foreign intervention. More than 70% of today's global conflicts, disputes, and security challenges are within the OIC countries. Commensurate with the status of the OIC, we must evolve its institutional framework and tools to address the challenges of peace and security within the Islamic world. It is important that we identify how the OIC can equip itself with the tools required to promote conflict prevention, mediation, reconciliation, and peace building within and outside the Muslim world. I am pleased that discussions on fully activating the OIC's peace and security architecture, as called for in the Islamabad Declaration, have commenced. I thank the Secretary General for initiating formal exchanges on this issue, and I also thank him. I encourage you to share your views on how the OIC can devise processes to address contemporary challenges and conflicts confronting the Muslim Ummah. On my part, I suggest that the General Secretariat undertakes a comprehensive gap analysis of the OIC peace and security-related institutional frameworks in comparison to similarly situated regional and sub-regional organizations. Develop a roadmap for regular engagement and discussions to feed into the ministerial engagement on this issue during 2022 and 2023. Excellencies, if we are the masters of our own destiny, the Islamic world and each nation and each of our nations must achieve genuine economic independence. Most of the Muslim countries belong to the global south. Underdevelopment, poverty, and climate change remain a serious threat to future security and stability of our societies. In an era of economic, financial unpredictability, development partnerships amongst OIC member states are of vital importance. During the current UN General Assembly session, the OIC countries must work with developing countries to address this triple challenge of recovery from the COVID pandemic, achievement of the SDGs, and the existential threat of climate change. To forge such a partnership, the OIC countries must mobilize international support for a comprehensive recovery and development strategy, including the comprehensive debt relief, expanded concessional finance, and the redistribution of at least half of the unutilized SDRs in developing countries. The OIC must also strengthen its capacity to develop new and emerging technologies. We should synergize the scientific and intellectual pool in the Muslim world and fully utilize the platform of ComStech to achieve the OIC STI Agenda 2026. Excellencies, as a result of catastrophic floods in Pakistan, have so tragically illustrated climate change poses an existential threat to humanity. We are most grateful to all our brothers and sisters in the Islamic world who have responded with generous assistance to help us recover from the unprecedented floods. Pakistan will bounce back stronger and better due to the resilience of our people. Pakistan is impacted by global impacts of climate change despite our rather negligible emissions reduction contribution. Pakistan is today the ground zero of the impact of climate change. It is heartening that one of our OIC members, Egypt, is to host the annual climate talks and will lead the efforts for the next year. Pakistan supports their efforts, and I am confident that COP27 will renew political will and deploy tools to finally mobilize the much-awaited $100 billion plus promise in climate finance. Allocate half for adaptation, establish a financing facility to compensate developing countries for loss and damage, urge the industrialized countries to achieve net minus carbon emissions by 2050, and to fund the extra costs of climate mitigation by developing countries. Excellencies, as we protect our sovereignty, we must also protect our faith. Islamophobia is a reality. Today, Islamophobia is manifested in negative profiling of Muslims, stigmatization, deliberate vandalization of the Islamic symbols and holy sites, killings by cow vigilantes, discriminatory laws and policies, ban on the hijab, attacks on mosques, and anti-Muslim migration policies. The worst manifestation of Islamophobia is the Vidva-inspired India, driven by the ideology of hate against Muslims. The RSS regime is executing its centuries-old plan to transform India into an exclusively Hindu state. We are particularly alarmed by the recent calls by extremist groups for genocide against Indian Muslims. Calls from some of India's ruling party leaders for Akhund Bharat implies an irreverent agenda of expansion and aggression. We have all welcomed the adaptation of the UN General Assembly's landmark resolution on behalf of the OIC countries designating the 15th of March as the International Day to Combat Islamophobia. The momentum generated by this resolution should be maintained. We should strengthen the OIC's Islamophobia observatory. We look forward to the OIC Secretary General's appointment of a special envoy on Islamophobia, as decided at the Islamabad Foreign Ministers' Conference. The OIC countries should also urge the UN Secretary General to formulate an action plan in coordination with OIC countries to halt and reverse Islamophobia and convene a special General Assembly meeting on combating Islamophobia. The 57-member OIC is the largest international organization after the United Nations. At this inflection point in history, we confront multiple challenges, but there are also new opportunities for the OIC to seize and play a major role in reshaping the content and structures of the emerging era. Pakistan will work with all OIC member states to mobilize our collective endeavors to this end. I thank you all.